You know that feeling, right? That sudden heat that rises up in your chest out of nowhere. The kind that tightens your throat, makes your hands shake. When someone pushes your buttons again, and it just explodes inside you. It's not just anger. It's something deeper. It's pain, hurt, frustration you didn't want to admit. The part of you that's tired of being disrespected, ignored, or misunderstood, but you keep it inside because you think that's what you're supposed to do. You try to calm down, to think it through, to be the better person, but the fire keeps burning, and sometimes it feels like it's going to burn you whole, like you're holding something dangerous you can't put down or control. Here's what most people don't tell you. Anger itself isn't the problem. It's what your anger is telling you about your boundaries, your values, your pain. We get taught to hide anger like it's shameful, like it's a weakness, so we swallow it, pretend it's not there, and hope it goes away, but it never really goes away, does it? It just waits, quiet, then loud, until it bursts out in the worst way. So maybe the real problem isn't the anger. Maybe it's how we treat it, like something to be ignored or fought against. This isn't about letting anger run wild. It's about facing it, understanding what it's really about, and learning how to handle it without losing yourself. Because inside that heat, there's a chance for something new. Not peace that means no fire. No, peace that means you've learned to stand strong in the fire, calm, steady, in control. You're not broken because you get angry. You're human. You're still learning. And that means you still have power. Power to change how you react. Power to change your story. Anger is not your enemy. It's the beginning of the journey. Have you noticed how most of your anger comes from what you think about a situation, not the situation itself? Someone cuts you off in traffic. It's not just the cut. It's what you tell yourself about it. Who does this person think they are? Or when a friend lets you down, it's not the act itself, but your expectation that they should have been different. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, said it clearly. It's not what happens to you, but how you interpret it that matters. That's a hard truth, isn't it? Because anger feels like the event itself, like something outside you is pushing your buttons, controlling you. But what if your anger is more about your judgment, your story about what happened? That means anger lives in your mind, not out there, not in the traffic jam, not in the rude comment, not in the mistake someone made. Here's the difficult part. If anger is inside you, then so is the power to change it. But changing it means facing some uncomfortable truths. Maybe you expect too much. Maybe you see yourself as the victim more than the responsible party. Maybe your mind is building up walls and enemies where none really exist. This isn't about blaming yourself or pretending things are okay when they're not. It's about owning your part in the story. And that's where control begins. If you're still here, that says something. You're willing to see the mirror your anger is holding up. And that's not easy, because the mirror shows your judgments, your stubborn ideas, your fears. It asks you to question your version of the truth. But the moment you do that, you take the first step away from being a slave to your anger and toward mastering it. So, subscribe to this channel. Do it for yourself. Because on this channel, we discuss topics that help you improve your life. Let's continue. There's a moment, just before you lose it, when everything inside you screams to explode, to lash out, to let the fire burn wild. But then, there's a split second, a breath, a crack in the chaos. That's the pause. It's the space between the trigger and your reaction. Most people never see it. They get caught in the rush. The flood of emotions sweeps them away before they can even think. But what if you could catch that pause? Hold on to it like a lifeline? Picture it like this. You're a wave crashing against the shore. You can't stop the wave, but you can decide how it breaks. In that brief moment, you have a choice. Do you let the anger spill out like wildfire, burning everything in its path? Or do you breathe, step back, and watch the fire without letting it consume you? This is the ancient Stoic secret, the power to create space between stimulus and response. It's not easy. Your instincts want to scream, to punch, to shout, but the pause is your superpower. That space is where you build your fortress, where you choose your next move instead of being pushed around by raw emotion. You practice it like a muscle. You stretch it every day. Breathe in, breathe out. Watch the anger, don't feed it. And slowly, that pause grows longer, until it becomes your new first reaction. Most people would have clicked away by now, but you're here, still listening, still open to this quiet strength. And That means something. The pause is your beginning, your chance to turn the fire from a destructive force into a tool, but only if you reach for it. Anger wastes your energy on things you have no power over. Traffic jams, careless words, broken promises, they happen outside your mind, in a world you can't fully control, but your reaction, your choice to stay angry or to let go, that's where your power lives. The Stoics taught us this clearly. Focus only on what's within your control. Everything else is noise, distraction, a waste of your fire. It's hard to accept, isn't it? To admit that some things just aren't yours to fix, that no matter how loud your anger shouts, it won't change those things. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Holding on to anger about what you can't change only chains you to pain. Surrender is not defeat, it's strength dressed in calm. A fierce decision to stop bleeding over what isn't yours. Letting go doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough to save your energy for the battles you can win. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with rocks, each rock a grudge, a frustration, a "why did this happen to me?" You can't drop those rocks by force. You have to choose to set the bag down. That choice, that moment of release, is the first step toward freedom. You're not weak for letting go. You're wise, disciplined, choosing peace over pointless struggle. And the more you practice this, the lighter your steps become, the clearer your mind grows, and the fire inside burns steady, controlled, purposeful. Will you hold on, or will you let go? What if you imagine the worst before it even happens? Sounds strange, doesn't it? Why invite pain into your mind on purpose? But that's exactly what Stoics practiced. Negative visualization. They'd picture loss, betrayal, disappointment. Not to scare themselves, but to prepare, because when the storm comes, you're not caught off guard. You've already walked through the fire in your mind. Think about it. When something goes wrong and you're hit with anger, it's often because you expected things to stay safe, calm, perfect, but life isn't safe, calm, or perfect. It's messy, unpredictable, and sometimes brutal. By imagining the worst, you toughen your mind. You build a shield made of what if so the real blow doesn't shatter you. It's not about becoming cold or numb. It's about facing pain before it arrives, so when it does, your anger doesn't burn you down. You can watch it, understand it, and decide how to respond. This is mental grit, the kind that turns chaos into clarity, suffering into strength. You keep rehearsing the worst, so when the moment comes, you don't lose yourself. Maybe this feels strange, even dark, but there's freedom in knowing you can handle what's coming. Anger loses its power when you've already faced the fire. So start imagining the mistakes, the betrayals, the unfairness. See them, feel them, and say, "I'm ready." Because when you're ready, you're not a victim of your anger. You're the one holding the match. You know how anger feels, like a wildfire raging inside. But what if the fire is fueled by the story you tell yourself? When someone cuts you off or says something harsh, your mind immediately jumps to a story. They're disrespecting me. They don't care. They want to hurt me. But what if that story isn't the only truth? What if it's just one version, one way your mind twists the facts to make sense of the pain? This is where Stoic wisdom hits hard. You don't have to believe every thought your mind throws at you. Not every story is fact. Some stories are just your fears dressed as truth. Your insecurities feeding the flames of anger. Reframing means choosing a different story, a different way to see the same situation, turning pain into an opportunity to grow. Imagine you're watching a movie, but the director changes the script halfway through. The villain becomes misunderstood. The chaos turns into a lesson, and you, the viewer, find new meaning in the scene. This is the power you have. You get to rewrite the script in your mind. To see the person who hurt you as someone struggling, not attacking. To see mistakes as chances to learn, not reasons to rage. It's not easy, I know. Your mind will fight back, telling you it's weak to forgive, that you're letting someone off the hook. But that's just your old story trying to hold on. Reframing is fierce. It's saying, I will not be your victim anymore. It's standing tall when the world tries to knock you down. It's strength born from choice, not chance. You practice this every day, noticing when your anger starts to build, catching the story you're telling yourself, and flipping it, twisting it, until the fire cools down, until your heart beats steady. It's a battle inside you, between the old version of yourself and the one who's learning, growing, mastering the storm. Remember, anger thrives in the dark, in stories left unchecked, but light breaks through when you question those stories. When you shine truth on your thoughts and rewrite the narrative with clarity and calm. This isn't about ignoring your pain. It's about facing it, but on your own terms. So next time you feel anger rising, pause and ask yourself, what story am I telling myself right now? Is it true? Or is there another way to see this? You're not powerless here. You're the storyteller, and every story you tell shapes the fire inside. Patience isn't weakness. It's not waiting quietly while life beats you down. It's a discipline, a muscle you build with every moment you don't lash out. I know you want quick fixes, fast wins, to burn the anger away like a flash fire. But real strength is slow, steady, like an oak tree standing firm in a storm. Imagine the oak. Its branches bend, its leaves shake, but the roots hold deep. The storm rages, but the tree does not break. That's patience, the power to hold your ground even when the world feels like it's shaking apart. Anger wants you to explode, to burn bright and fast, but patience asks you to last, to endure, to stay calm in the heat. And that's hard, isn't it? To hold the fire inside without letting it consume you. To wait without giving in to the urge to shout or strike back. But every time you do, you grow. Every moment you breathe instead of scream, you're building a strength no one can take away. Here's the truth. Patience is a fight, a quiet battle waged every time you choose calm over chaos. Every time you hold your tongue when your fists want to fly. It's not passive, it's fierce, like a slow-burning fire that never dies, a power that grows deeper with every test. Most people give up long before this. They want quick relief, fast control. But the slow strength of patience is what builds real mastery. If you're still here, listening, feeling this, that means you're not looking for easy answers. You're ready to face the hard, steady work. And that's rare, that's powerful. Patience lets you stand firm, not just survive the storm, but learn from it, to become someone who doesn't just react, but responds with calm, clarity, control. So practice patience, not as a weakness, but as a weapon, a tool in your hands to master the fire inside. Subscribe if this speaks to you, not for me, but for your own journey, for the strength you're building, step by step, breath by breath. Patience is slow, but it's unstoppable. It's the quiet power beneath your anger, waiting for you to claim it. Sometimes the loudest anger isn't aimed at others. It's turned inward, the harsh voice inside your head tearing you down. You're angry at yourself for mistakes, failures, moments you wish you could take back. That inner judge never lets up, whispering that you're not good enough, not strong enough, not disciplined enough. But this anger, this self-criticism, it's the cruelest fire of all, burning from the inside out, leaving scars you hide from the world. Stoicism teaches us to be as kind to ourselves as we are to others, to recognize that we are all unfinished works, learning, failing, growing. You're not broken because you slip up, you're human, and the voice inside that shouts is often the one most in need of mercy. Quieting this inner judge isn't about ignoring responsibility. It's about shifting the conversation from hate to discipline, from punishment to growth. Imagine your mind as a room, and the critic is a loud guest. You can't kick them out, but you can turn down the volume. You can choose what they say has power over you. Replace the harsh words with truth. I am learning. I am growing. I am enough for this moment. That doesn't mean the anger disappears overnight. It softens, becomes less like a burning wildfire and more like a controlled flame, a signal, not destruction. And when you treat yourself with this kind of patience, you build resilience, you build strength, because the quieter your inner judge becomes, the louder your inner leader grows. The one who says, stand up, even if your legs still shake, keep moving. Even when the road feels impossible, self-directed anger traps you in a cycle of pain. But self-compassion frees you to move forward, to rebuild with clarity and courage. So listen closely. The toughest battles aren't always outside. Sometimes they're inside your own mind. And winning those battles is the truest form of mastery. Anger feels like a wildfire inside, destructive, uncontrollable, overwhelming. But what if anger isn't just chaos? What if it's a teacher in disguise? Every time anger rises, it points to something important. A boundary crossed, a value challenged, a truth ignored. Stoics believe that emotions aren't random. They carry messages, lessons waiting to be understood, instead of running from anger or trying to crush it. What if you leaned in and asked, "What is this anger telling me?" Maybe it's telling you that you've been taken for granted. Maybe it's warning you that something in your life needs to change. Or maybe it's the spark pushing you to protect what matters most. The lesson isn't always easy to see. Sometimes it's hidden beneath the heat, buried under the roar. But anger demands attention. It forces you to stop ignoring the things you pretend don't hurt. You keep redecorating hell and calling it peace, covering pain with distractions, avoiding the hard questions. But anger breaks through. And if you listen closely, it guides you toward growth. This is the spiritual grit Stoics talk about, turning pain into power, turning fire into forge. You're not your anger, but you can use it to shape who you become. It's a choice. Let anger destroy you, or let it teach you. The process isn't easy. It takes courage to face what anger reveals, to look at your life with brutal honesty. But on the other side of that pain is clarity, a new strength. So next time you feel the fire rise, pause and ask, what lesson am I ignoring? Let anger be your guide, not your prison, because the power to change your story is in your hands. You stand at a crossroads every time anger rises. One path leads to becoming a slave to that fire, the other to mastering it. The moment your anger flares is the moment you face a choice. Do you let it control you, or do you take control of it? Most people don't realize this power is theirs. They feel like anger happens to them, like they're just reacting, losing themselves in the heat. But that's a lie you can break. Stoicism teaches that your reaction is always yours. The power to choose how you respond lives inside you. Even in the darkest moments, even when the fire feels unbearable, you're not your anger. You're the one who decides what it means, what it becomes. It's not about pretending anger isn't real, or swallowing it until it explodes. It's about meeting it with clear eyes, steady hands. This choice isn't a single moment. It's 1,000 small decisions, every breath, every second you resist the urge to lash out. Mastery is built in these tiny battles, the silent fights no one sees. And it's not easy. Sometimes you'll fail, you'll fall into old patterns. But each failure is a lesson, a chance to stand back up stronger. The fire inside you can either burn you down or light the way forward, but only if you take the reins, only if you refuse to be a prisoner of your impulses. So, what will you choose? Will you keep letting anger run the show, or will you become the master of your own storm? This isn't a promise of perfection. It's a promise of effort, of commitment, to stand firm when everything inside says to break. You're not alone in this battle. Every person who's walked this path knows the struggle, the doubts, the fear, the temptation to give up. But the ones who win are the ones who keep choosing again and again. Hold on to that truth, because it's the key to freedom. You control your anger, or it controls you. Remember the fire inside you. That heat that felt like it might burn everything to ash. The anger that seemed impossible to control. It's still there, not a problem to be fixed or hidden, but a force to be understood, to be met with steady hands and open eyes. You're unfinished. Remember? That fire inside is part of your story, not the end of it. It's raw energy, waiting to be shaped, to be used, not wasted. You've been told anger is bad, that it's a poison to be avoided, but it's not poison. It's power, unrefined. Yes, but power nonetheless. Now, you're learning how to face it, to catch the pause before the storm, to control what you can and let go what you can't, to reframe the stories your mind tells, to practice patience and quiet the harsh judge inside. This is not a smooth path. It's a jagged road, full of setbacks and hard truths. But every step forward is growth. Every moment you choose control over chaos, you become less a slave to anger, and more its master. Look back at where you started, not with shame or regret, but with recognition of how far you've come. The fire inside is no longer a wild beast. It's a tool, a flame you carry with intention. Hold on to that truth, because this fire is unfinished strength, your strength. Look at your journey so far, all the fire, the pain, the moments you wanted to explode, and now, the pauses you found, the choices you made to hold on, to control what you can and let go what you can't. This path isn't easy, No quick fixes, no magic switch, just a slow, steady climb, step by step, breath by breath. You've picked up tools along the way. The power to pause, the strength to reframe your story, the patience to endure, and the courage to quiet your inner judge. Most would have given up by now, but you're still here, still fighting, still learning. If this hits something real inside you, if you feel the pull to keep going, keep mastering the fire inside, subscribe. Not for me, but for your own journey, for the quiet strength you're building, for the moments when the world tests your control. This is your path, your fight, your victory waiting to happen. Don't let it fade. Keep walking, keep choosing, keep mastering. Now, you stand here, at the edge of something new, with all the fire you carried, and all the control you've begun to master. It's been a hard road, full of tension, struggle, and moments you wanted to give in, but you didn't. You held on, you paused, you questioned, you chose. This moment isn't about perfection, it's about reflection. Looking inward with honesty and calm. What have you learned from this fire inside? How has your anger shaped you? Have you started to see it not as a curse, but as a signal, a guide, a chance to rebuild something stronger? Rebuilding isn't about pretending the fire is gone, or that anger doesn't still flare up sometimes. It's about building with intention, using every spark to light your way, not to burn bridges or destroy. You are the builder now, the architect of your inner world, the one who chooses what stands and what falls. Reflect on this. The fire you feared can be the very thing that sets you free, but only if you refuse to be burned by it. Only if you learn to hold it without letting it consume you. You've come this far because you chose to fight, not with fists or rage, but with patience, discipline, and clear eyes. Now comes the real test. To keep walking this path every day, to keep choosing mastery over chaos, to keep rebuilding when the fire flares again. If this woke something in you, don't ignore it. Let it be the spark that starts your next chapter, the quiet fire that fuels your steady strength. Subscribe, not for me, but for the promise you make to yourself, for the discipline you're building, for the clarity you're chasing, for the peace waiting on the other side of the storm. You're unfinished, yes, but that means there's more power ahead, more control to take, more fire to master. Reflect on this, then act. Now, rebuild.